to the good days, here's to the sorrows. If this is a mistake, I know about tomorrow. I don't wanna fight no more, cause I don't feel the need no more, no. Just wanna make it stop. Maybe it's something in the water.
Hey friends, it's Robin. Welcome to a new reading vlog. Today is Tuesday, August 1st, and we are starting my Netgalley reading vlog. I think I've only done one of these before. I thought I had done more, but apparently not. But essentially, this is a week dedicated to reading only Netgalley books. So we are going to read a bunch of digital arcs. We are going to review those books. We're going to see how my Netgalley reviewer ratio improves or doesn't improve. So first and foremost, if you aren't familiar with Netgalley, it is a website that is open to everybody, and it is just a way to request digital arcs. So these are audiobooks and ebooks, and you get a reviewer ratio, which is a ratio of the number of books that you have reviewed to the number of books that you have been approved for. Current Netgalley ratio is 70%. That is the best that my ratio has ever been. The recommended feedback ratio is 80%, and I dream of one day hitting 80%. So I am actually going to record my screen. So everyone gets a profile like this. And as of right now, I have been approved for almost 350 books, and I have sent feedback on 243. This is also including the books that I've DNF'd. If I have gotten a significant way into the book, I will write a review for that book just so that it doesn't knock my feedback ratio. If you choose to DNF a book and not review it, that does technically count against your ratio. It is a book that you did not review. Because I have been approved for almost 350 books, I have to review a lot of books in order to go up a percentage at this point. We'll see how I can do, but this is what a Netgalley looks like. Here is my current shelf, and I currently have 42 books. This is probably the smallest that it's been in a hot minute. I'm gonna start with the books that I know for sure that I'm gonna read, and then we're gonna kind of talk about the game plan for this week. So I'm hoping to read at least 4 books. Game plan reading-wise for this week is I definitely want to read Change of Plans by Dylan Newton. The day that I am filming this intro, it comes out August 1st. So when you are seeing this video, this book is already out. This is a contemporary romance that is technically set in the same world as Dylan Newton's 2 other books, How Sweet It Is and All Fired Up. This is following one of the brothers who was in the military and has since retired, I assume. He was injured at some point and he lost the lower half of his leg, and I believe he's having a romance with a heroine who recently became the guardian to her 3 young nieces. I think it sounds really, really cute. I've enjoyed the other 2 books in this world. I really liked How Sweet It Is. So I'm excited to give this one a try. A couple of the other ones that I know for sure I'm going to be reading are New Adult by Timothy Janowski. I'm not 100% sure if I'm saying that correctly. However, I will be listening to the audiobook of this, so I will know for sure once I start that. But I'm going to be listening to this one on audio since I have this on audio through Libro. One of the other ones that I really want to read this month is actually not on Netgalley, so I'm somewhat lying to you in this video, but it is actually on Edelweiss. I really want to read The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley. This is a contemporary rom-com that is following a firefighter who ends up getting injured, and his roommate and best friend, who is a nurse, have an agreement that if they're not married, I think it's by like 40 or whatever, they will get married. Now that she is helping take care of him, I think like feelings are starting to arise. This one also comes out the 1st, so it is out the day that I'm filming this, so I really want to read this one as well. The only other August arcs that I have is the 4 Horsemen series by Laura Thalassa, which I am contemplating reading, not the whole thing, but at least one of these, because I do have book 1 as an audiobook. I purchased it ages ago and never ended up listening to it, it probably was for a readathon or something like that. And I actually own the original cover, but I do have that, and I am considering listening to that audiobook since I do own that audiobook. My other options for this are actually to do some late arcs, because I do have quite a few of those as well. Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. I have absolutely no idea how I ended up with 2 copies of this on here, and it drives me bananas because it's taking up 2 spots. That's kind of the options. And then as I finish each of these books, we are going to review them together. So as I am reviewing them here with you, I will also be writing my reviews over on Goodreads and on Netgalley. I'll kind of show you how all of that process works, and then we will see how my Netgalley ratio improves. So my game plan now is like 4:15. My husband should be home shortly. I think I have just about finished all of my stuff for the day. The only thing I have left to do is to finish editing a video for Friday. But that is going to be it for this intro. I will check back in with you when I have updates on my first 2 books. Hi. Ignore the pimple patch, because despite the fact that I am quickly closing in on 34, my skin still thinks I'm 15. I wanted to do a quick update because I have about 4 hours before we leave for the Chelsea game. I'm wearing my husband's jersey and it is a little big on me. I hate to tie it because otherwise it like goes down to the edge of my shorts and it looks like I'm not wearing pants. I want to get some stuff done. I don't want to say this day is going to be a loss because like we're gonna have a great time, but I'm not gonna be able to do anything productive. And then tomorrow is also gonna be kind of a loss. I'm gonna end up wanting to sleep in, and then I have a chiropractor appointment, and then we are going to go to State Fair, I believe. My like productivity time is somewhat limited in these next 2 days. But that means that I get to take you along and actually show you some fun footage, because usually my B-roll is just me making coffee and like the animals. Now you get B-roll of me participating in the world. Crazy concept. I do have reading updates, which is what you are actually here for, not my life. So I did start New Adult by Timothy Janofsky. I always want to say Janofsky, but it's Janofsky according to the audiobook. I listened to it like 4 times to try and get it correct, and I still had to sit here and think about it. I think I'm like 22% into this, and I'm actually really liking it. The hero in this is a disaster, and I love it. He is a disaster muppet. Our hero is a comedian. He is, I think he's like 25. He has kind of always had this like plan for his life. He has kind of missed his first big life goal, and he is feeling like a failure. All of this kind of comes to a head when his sister announces her engagement, and he realizes that he's gonna have to hang out with his family, who are all going to point out the fact that he is still a struggling comedian, and none of them really think that that is like a valid career. And so he really wants a date to this wedding so that he kind of has a buffer between him and his family. But the big problem with that is he's actually in love with his roommate and best friend. Feels like he can't act on those feelings until he is in a better place, because he's like, my best friend deserves everything. He's like, and I am a disaster. He has a hard time keeping relationships because he is constantly ditching everyone for his career. Because in order to be a successful comedian, you kind of have to be at the whims of the bars and the comedy houses and all of that stuff. He kind of comes to this point where he is really down on himself, and he's like, you know what, forget it. I'm giving up comedy, and I am going to act on my feelings towards my best friend. And so he asks his best friend to go to the wedding with him, and the 2 of them go to the wedding, and his best friend kisses him at the wedding. But right after the kiss, his phone rings, and he gets a phone call for like the big comedy house that he had auditioned to that he hadn't heard back from, and they were like, we need somebody right now. And so he ends up ghosting everyone. I think this is now kind of where the 13 going on 30 aspect starts, because he just got back to the wedding, and rightfully so, everyone is pissed at him. I'm liking it a lot. Unfortunately, I'm also reading Change of Plans, and I'm like 12% in, I think, and I don't like it, which is weird because I really, really liked how sweet it is. It's a couple of different things that is kind of like throwing me for this one. I'm usually not picky about this, but this one is written in 3rd person, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the writing style mixed with this 3rd person, but I am finding that I'm having to reread sections of this. And then there's a lot of info dumpy stuff in here as well, because our hero is ex-military. He was a Marine, and he is suffering from not only PTSD, but some other medical things regarding the fact that he lost the lower half of his leg to an IED. And so he has bone growths and things. There's this conversation with his best friend who shows up at his auto body shop. And the conversation that they had really didn't feel like an actual conversation. I was very much aware of the fact that the author was using that as a way to have a discussion about PTSD and HO. You can tell that the author very, very clearly did a lot of research for this book, but I'm getting the impression that she wanted to put so much of that research into this book that it's just not coming across as anything other than info dumpy. I purposefully do not pick up military romances pretty much ever because one, I'm very anti-military. And so I have a hard time with military romances just purely for their existence. And so I have a hard time with it. It's like, I understand that it is a thing and it exists, and there are obviously good people who do it. There's an entire video, I'm gonna link it down below, that Jessie from Jessie on YouTube posted a little while ago as a reaction to a Men's in Uniform romance recommendation. They talk about how military and cop romances, purely for existing, are a political stance. And part of the issue with these types of stories is it romanticizes these entities, these organizations, by kind of putting a spin on it and showing the good people that are in it. Go watch Jessie's video. They are far more eloquent than I could ever dream of being, and the way they discuss this entire thing made far more sense in their video than whatever gibberish just came out of my mouth. I also had to go look at spoilers because there is an entire conversation between him and his friend about how he is most likely sterile. And I had to go look at spoilers because I was like, if there is a surprise pregnancy in here, I will lose my goddamn mind. And it doesn't sound like there is. I actually went and read the epilogue. I shit you not. I went and read the epilogue first because I was like, if there is a baby in that epilogue, I'm out. I'm rambling to no extent. But it sounds like the plot and conflict kind of hangs on the fact that when these two characters meet, the hero is babysitting his niece, and the heroine thinks that that is his daughter. And I think that that is going to be like a whole miscommunication thing between them. I don't care for it because why can't he just say that, hey, it's my niece? So I don't know, guys. I don't know if I want to continue with it. So I'm gonna go start getting ready, take you along while we do some content things, and then we will head down to Chicago. Pause because I got a package from Berkeley, so I thought we're doing an ARC vlog. We should probably open this, right? It is cracked open. And I stopped myself from peeking, so, oh my god, I'm so excited. It is With Love from Cold World by Alicia Thompson. I've already read this, and I loved this book. And I'm actually really excited they sent me a copy because I actually prefer this cover, like the actual cover, to the Barnes & Noble one. The Barnes & Noble one is pink. I like the teal and the red. So that's a little update I just wanted to give because I got this package and I'm so excited.
Baby, we just hit the end of the road. Right now it doesn't even matter.
Alrighty, it is time to get ready. I'm trying to be conscious about what makeup I put on my face because it is going to be, I think the high is like 84 or 85 down in Chicago. And so I don't want my makeup to melt off my face. Other updates. While I do my nails, I'm probably just going to watch some YouTube since I won't be able to do that at all today. I just kind of want to catch up on some videos. I don't know. We'll decide from there what I want to do next, but I'm going to do my makeup and then we'll start my nails and then we'll figure out how much time we have left.
It's too late not to let it go. And that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry. We both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. We had a good run, don't say we didn't. so are the memories, the venom and the remedies, yeah. Promise I won't forget, yeah. Maybe it's something in the water, yeah. Or maybe we just hit the end of the road, yeah. Right now it doesn't even matter, yeah. It's too late not to let it go. And that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry, 'cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. So baby, bye. It's for the best and you know why. You gotta leave me here tonight before we make this even worse. It's gonna hurt even more than this does. We gave it all we had. It's time to say bye, baby, bye. I'll be, you'll be, yeah, we'll be fine. So let's call it a night, and that's why I wish you the best and say goodbye. You start to get dressed and then we cry, 'cause we both know it's gonna hurt, but not as much as this does. So baby, bye. It's for the best and you know why. You gotta leave me here right now before we make this even worse. It's gonna hurt even more than this does.
Hi. So it is a Thursday. I got a ton of B-roll from yesterday. We had the best time. We went down to Chicago kind of early. We got stuck in an ass ton of traffic. We went to the aquarium and walked around there for a little while, and then we went into the stadium early and got some food and just like hung out, and the game was amazing. We had such a good time, but we didn't get home until essentially midnight. I didn't read a single sentence, word yesterday. And then today I hella overslept. Apparently I was just completely exhausted from yesterday, and I slept until 9:40. And I had a chiropractor appointment at 10. So I quickly messaged my chiropractor. I was just like, I'm running a little late. So I rushed out of the house with a literal plastic cup of coffee. Let's go finish getting ready, and then we'll go over to State Fair. I'll take you along with me for that, and then I'll probably lay down the rest of the day because we have a full day of walking again tomorrow, and we had a full day of walking yesterday. So let's go.
Wish that I could stay in this moment forever, so I can hold you in my arms. I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed. Deep in the
It is now like 6:30 at night. This whole day is so weird with me oversleeping and then us going to State Fair and like being on vacation. I have lost all sense of day and time at this point. It's a weird day, guys. But I have been reading. I was just sitting upstairs in bed, and I've been listening to New Adult by Timothy Janofsky. I am really, really liking this. I don't even know how far in I am. I would have to take a look. There's multiple parts. I'm currently in part 4, I believe. So you have everything that like sets up the story in part 1. Part 2 is like where the conflict is introduced, and then part 3 is him finding himself in the future, which isn't a spoiler. That's in the synopsis. And so I'm in part 4, and it's so cute. I like it a lot. He has this best friend that he is in love with, Thru, and I'm gonna try and be vague because I don't want to spoil anything. The narration is really good too. So I don't know. That's all I got. Here's a cute puppy. She's tired. Are you sleepy? Yeah, are you sleepy? I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna go back to reading, and I will check back in with you once I finish New Adult.
liking for
low. Hopefully the sound isn't too loud. I have my window open in my office, but I really wanted to update you because last night I finished reading New Adult by Timothy Janofsky, and I ended up giving this 5 stars. This was so freaking cute. I've been calling this a gay Hallmark movie with time travel. Every single mushy, cheesy moment in here stole my heart. You get to watch like our hero Nolan like go through this whole adorable character growth. The best way that I can describe this is 13 going on 30 meets A Christmas Carol. And so you are essentially watching this guy go through this plot of 13 going on 30 with the character growth of A Christmas Carol. And like it's very self-aware of that. Like there is a fly in here, it's driving me nuts. He even like comments about the fact that he is Ebenezer Scrooge, like going through his character arc, and it was just this book is not closed door and it's not quite fade to black, but it has like no details, and instead it's like I took him into my mouth and after he finished we cuddled and gazed into each other's eyes. Like it just kind of like glosses over everything. So I do want to mention that because I know there are a lot of romance readers who are particular about their steamy scenes. This was a very queer book and it was very much so about queer culture, but at no point was this exploring queer trauma stuff in it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, which I really like. It was 100% joy. It was so joyful. It was really, really good. Other updates, I got to 15% into Change of Plans by Dylan Newton, and this does not currently have an audiobook, and so I think I'm gonna DNF it. I read another chapter and I just don't care. I really don't care. It's not a huge deal. I used to feel so bad about DNFing books, and I know a lot of people still have that hang up. There are readers for every single book out there, and just because I'm not the reader for this book doesn't mean that this isn't a worthy book. It's just not for me. And that's cool. But that means that we have 2 books that we need to review. Just because I'm DNFing this book doesn't mean I'm not going to review it, particularly because I still read enough of it to have opinions.
You will grow up in the blink of an eye and move out and be on your own. But no matter what comes your way, I will stay right here beside you. Catch you if you fall, and deep and abiding, liking for you is all I need. Until my heart gives in, I will do everything I can for you.
So I just finished writing those reviews, and I'm still at 69%. So we need to pick some new books and hopefully make a dent in that. The next book that I'm going to start physically is The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley, which is a roommate, best friends to lovers caretaking romance. I did read the first like 5-6 pages last night. Essentially, we're following a heroine who is an ER nurse, and she is working towards her RN, and she has 2 roommates. One is a friend of hers that she's been roommates with for a while, and the other one is her like best friend. He is a firefighter, and he ended up moving in with them semi-recently. And they have an agreement to get married if they are still single at 40. The hero is 36 and our heroine is 31, I believe. And then I think for my audiobook, I'm going to go into Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. So I think that's where we're going to go from here. My phone is like starting to overheat and it is almost out of space for videos. So I'm going to move all of these clips off and charge my phone and let it cool down. Maybe edit a video and then we can talk about reading and stuff once I actually get started on reading.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do?
Alrighty, so I just finished uploading that video. you saw. You were there. And so now I am going to grab my headphones, edit some photos, and listen to the start of Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. I don't know much about this romance. I know this was super popular a while back. It's kind of post-apocalyptic sort of fantasy romance following the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I believe they're coming to Earth one at a time as the previous brother is failing to end the world, and they are failing because they are falling in love with human women. I know nothing else. Yeah, I'm gonna go start doing all of that. Like I said, I'll update you with my first impressions in a little bit. I am just over a quarter of the way into Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. Prior to the start of the book, all 4 horsemen end up showing up on Earth. As society crumbled, all of a sudden all 4 of them disappeared. One day, Pestilence showed up by himself. Since then, he has been traveling the world, and everywhere he goes, he spreads disease. And no one really knows how it works. No one knows how far away his reach is. No one knows where he's going to be. And then at the beginning of the book, our heroine is in Canada. I think Whistler, if I'm remembering correctly. She ends up drawing the short straw as the person to stay back and try to kill Pestilence. She succeeds, except Pestilence is immortal, and so the terrible death that she deals him, he ends up coming back from. And he is going to get his revenge on her by making her suffer. And so he takes her captive, kind of tortures her, treats her terribly. At one point, she very nearly dies, and he ends up nursing her back to health. After that, their relationship starts to change a little bit, and he is starting to treat her with less vitriol, I guess. And the 2 of them are kind of becoming travel companions. At this point, she is his captive, and there's definitely some Stockholm syndrome stuff going on because she's like, I don't know, maybe he's not that bad. And I'm just like, and then he thought, for the next 2 hours, we are going to go listen to Pestilence and hang out on the couch. So I will come back to you in a couple of hours for the live show.
You added colors, like the moon needs the sun. We don't care about the others.
Happy Saturday. I feel like that is so bright. There we go. It is like 7:45, so I have to leave in like 15 minutes to go to teach yoga. But I wanted to do a quick update because I will be gone for a little while. So last night I did our journaling live, or productivity sprints, whatever you want to call them. Was on there until like 9 o'clock. And then I just read a little bit of The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley, which is okay so far. Our heroine and our hero have kind of been in the same friend group for a long time. There is clearly some attraction there, but they are both very similar in the fact that they have these very intense careers that take a lot out of them and require a lot of emotional energy and hours. And so they take weird hours and they put their career first. And no partners have ever really understood that. Our heroine is also very sure of herself, like she knows exactly what she wants and she's very outspoken. It sounds like that doesn't go over well in a lot of relationships. And our hero is an adventure seeker, so he loves dirt biking and skiing and rock climbing and all of these things. Those aspects of their life kind of hold them back in their relationships. They end up forming this pact right at the beginning of the book. Because of that pact and discussion, they are kind of realizing their attraction. So far it is cute. I'm not loving the writing. That's, I guess, the one thing that's holding me back. I don't even know how to explain it. It just doesn't feel very organic, I guess. Some of the conversations are very stilted. I don't love the hero. I'm finding him very arrogant, which I know is like part of it, but it's not coming across in like an attractive way. And so I don't know if that's going to be like part of the character growth. It's giving a little too much. But for now, I am going to finish my cup of coffee, try letting the dog out to see if he'll stop crying. We're going to go to yoga. We are going to go meet my mom at the farmer's market. And then we are going to come back and probably edit a video. I actually took my ADHD meds today so that I can stay focused, because yesterday was a little less productive than I had wanted it to be. And with tomorrow being my last day before going back to work, I I hate that for me. I have a bunch of stuff that I would like to get done. I need to do laundry and dishes and all of that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go get our day started, and then we're gonna have a productive afternoon. Zoo picnic tonight, and then tomorrow will be a lazy reading day. So let's get to it.
Added colors, like the moon needs the sun. We don't care about the others. You set my world on fire.
Okay. Ignore how sweaty I look. I am just about 75% into Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, and I'm entertained. I have no idea where this is going. I don't know if I'm enjoying it. I do like the legit hate to love in this one, because I feel like a lot of times we do like enemies to lovers, and like they don't really hate each other. These two straight up hate each other. They are on opposite ends of this war, but they cannot stop their attraction to each other. This is far more religious than I thought it would be, which I guess like in hindsight that makes sense, but I just didn't think it was gonna like lean into the religious side quite as much. And I am not religious. That part is not my fave. I have exactly 3 hours left, but it is just after 3, so I need to start getting ready because we're going to leave in about 45 minutes to go to my parents' company picnic. So I'm going to keep listening to my audiobook while I do that, and then we're going to head over to the zoo. So let's go. It is much later. It is, I don't know, a little after 9. I didn't really get any B-roll while I was at the zoo. We were just kind of hanging out with my parents, but here's a little clip of a tiger. That's the only footage I got. So enjoy the tiger. But after getting home and taking a shower and all of that stuff, I did end up finishing Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, and I have such mixed feelings on this. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. It's one of those books where it's like, I was never annoyed while reading it. I was never bored while reading it. In fact, I think the premise of this is very intriguing. But after I was done, I was like, I don't like this. I'm having a hard time with this one because, like I said, the premise is very interesting. I was entertained the whole time, which is strange because you pretty much just do the same thing over and over and over again, which should have annoyed me but didn't somehow. The characters are truly awful, like truly, truly terrible. Zero redeeming qualities about either of them. Essentially, Pestilence comes to Earth to start killing off humanity. Right at the beginning of the book, our heroine is selected as the person to try and take out Pestilence, and she knows that it is a suicide mission because if she gets within a certain range of Pestilence, she will contract this plague and die. And turns out Pestilence is immortal. Duh. And so he comes back and he's like, I am going to make you suffer. And so he takes her as his like captive, and he's like, I am going to keep you alive and make you like watch humanity suffer. And the two of them slowly develop this romance. She cannot understand why he is killing humanity, and he is trying to explain to her that there's nothing he can do to stop it. Like, this is his existence. He's like, I am not a human. I am the embodiment of plague. Like, that's it. As he and her are bonding, he is becoming more and more human. But I had such a hard time because you're supposed to be rooting for these characters, but the heroine makes crappy choices just over and over again. The number of times that this woman is shot or blown up or whatever, like, started to get a little ridiculous. Pestilence, like, he's the hero, right? But he is just, like, slaughtering people all the time. At times they're like, but he doesn't like to do it. And I'm like, yeah, but he does. He kills children, he kills old people, he kills mothers, and, like, he kills them. That's it. And so the whole time I was like, how do I root for this? Like, how? Like, there's so much detail about him slaughtering humanity with this grotesque and brutal illness. And so even at the end, when it was like, well, I spread my plague all the way through Canada and down the West Coast, but in the end, I stopped. And it's like, yeah, but you killed millions and millions of people without hesitation. And the whole time she's just like, but he's really, really hot. And I'm just like, I don't know. It was one of those books where at the end I was like, I was entertained. I was intrigued. But this isn't good. So 2.5 stars. Will I continue? Probably not. I feel like that was such a downer of an update, but I don't know. I'm gonna go read in bed. Hopefully the next thing's better. It is Sunday morning. I have just been kind of taking it easy this morning. I woke up. I meant to sleep in today, but I didn't. I got up at like, I don't know, a little after 7. But I've just been drinking my coffee. We watched Meet the Press. I did end up reading more of The Roommate Pact last night. I don't know how far in I am, maybe 20-30%. We've gotten to the point where the hero gets injured during a climbing accident. She is now like taking care of him. Not my favorite type of hero. He's that type of hero where like everything is innuendo and jokey, and it's not quite my favorite. I find it mildly annoying instead of endearing, but who knows? Maybe he'll go through a whole bunch of character growth. We shall see. But essentially, the big internal conflict on his side is that he is this like very action, adrenaline driven guy. And now he's bedridden for 4 weeks, like cannot get up and put any weight on his leg. And he's really struggling with that. And the heroine is trying to like help him. I don't have much time left. I think my Kindle said like 2.5 hours. So I should be able to finish that today as long as the day doesn't get away from me, which is totally possible. But I am going to fix my hair because it is a hot mess. So we're going to go do that. Maybe take you to brunch with me. I doubt I will show much of it, but maybe I'll show you the restaurant. Let's get our Sunday started because we have a lot of stuff to get done.
You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old.
I was sitting here trying to decide what I want to do for an audiobook. And so I have 2. I'm going to attempt Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I have this on Scribd, and I am expecting to DNF this within like a chapter or 2. This has absolutely atrocious ratings on Goodreads, and every single review I've seen for this absolutely hates this book, and I am definitely expecting to be in that camp. So I am going to try this, and then in order to make myself feel better, I'm going to listen to Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. I have loved Leah Lewis's last 2 books. Dear Emmy Blue is one of my favorite books of all time. Her books do tend to be pretty hard-hitting. This one I think is following a heroine. If I'm remembering correctly, it's been forever since I read the synopsis for this. I think our heroine loses her husband like either right at the beginning of the book or before the start of the book. Him or her was a musician. I can't remember which one of them was a musician. The only time that she plays music now, I think, is at some public piano somewhere, and someone keeps leaving her sheet music, and I think the sheet music is like her husband's favorite songs or something like that, and it is making her feel very connected to her late husband. Her books do lean very more contemporary than romance, but I'm totally okay with that. I think that's going to be the game plan for today, is we are going to give Secretly Yours like the good old college try and then go into Key to My Heart. I will come back to you with my thoughts on Secretly Yours either right before I leave for brunch or afterward.
Or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I don't know what I'd do without you. You make me smile. What is it that you do?
I actually filmed a bunch of this clip and then realized I didn't have a microphone. Well, we're gonna start this over. Good morning. It's Monday. I have a lot to update you on. I read a bunch last night. I finished some things. I started some things. I DNF'd some things. But I was hanging out with my husband and didn't really want to like grab my camera and stuff. Let's start with what I finished. So I did finish The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley, and I'm going to quote Stef from Novelty Corner. This was aggressively average. This is one of those books that like I will forget about by tomorrow. Like it will just leave my memory, which is unfortunate because it had some good elements to it. I loved the caretaking aspect of it. This had an element of like writing letters because while the hero is bedridden, he is kind of struggling to cope. And the heroine tells him that he should try journaling because it's something that she did after losing her father. And he's like, well, I feel weird writing myself. So she's like, well, you know, write it like you're writing to me. He actually ends up emailing like an old email address of hers and sends them. And so she doesn't know that he's doing this, and she doesn't really have access to that email or anything. And so he is just like letting it all out to her via email. And as the story goes, they are becoming more and more like love letters to her, where he is like finally feeling comfortable to share his feelings. And that element was so cute, and it really could have done something. But unfortunately, just everything about this was just so fine. The story was fade to black, which is like totally cool. One, I like knowing before going in. And two, like main characters kept talking about the sex that they were having and like how good it was and how emotional it was and how connected they felt. And I was like, if the sex portion of this is going to be impactful for the relationship and we skip over it, I miss all of that. I don't experience that. And so now I don't feel any of those things because all I have is the main character telling me this information out of context. And it left me feeling like I was missing an entire portion of their relationship just because in this case, it was clearly important to their relationship. Like it was a way for them to connect because both of them, mainly the hero, struggles to speak his feelings. And so that physical relationship was a way for him to express his emotions. And I was like, but we skipped it. So now I, as a reader, never got any of that. And so I'm just expected to like know that it was important. So I didn't end up caring that much about it. It wasn't bad. Like at no point was I like, oh, this book was terrible. I just feel literally nothing about it. But then I was going to give it the good old true try of Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I literally DNF'd this at like 4%. I think I might have made it to chapter 2. What a hot mess. This book opens up, our heroine is 29, and she is sitting outside at this winery and bitching up a storm because the winery opened up across the street, and the winery that she's at is the winery that her grandmother went to. And so clearly the other winery is evil. And so she keeps vandalizing it because she must protect the table where her grandmother was. And so she goes over and she like destroys the light outside of their bar and then runs away. And as she's running, she's talking about how her boobs are bouncing. And I'm just like, what woman is just like thinking to herself in detail, like other than be like, oh, this is really annoying. But I'm just like, was this written secretly by a white dude? And so she's commenting on, the size and bounce of her boobs as she's running. She runs into her friend's bakery. At that point, gets a call because she's a landscaper. And this woman is like, hey, you're late. She's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll be there in a bit. And then the lady's like, well, I'd like to be here so that like we can talk about this. And she's like, oh, this woman has opinions. That's not how I work. And so then she tells the lady to go somewhere else. And I'm like, you're fucking 29 years old and you turned down a job because the homeowner has opinions on their landscaping after you vandalized and broke a light at a bar. And I was like, no, absolutely not. The nail in the coffin was like the next couple of paragraphs. The hero is apparently this guy, this like wealthy dude that she met when she was 14. and they had an almost kissed at 14, and she has literally been hung up on him for 15 fucking years. I'm like, dude, you were a freshman in high school. Let it go. You barely knew this kid. You guys weren't friends. You weren't BFFs. Nothing was stolen from you. She's like Facebook stalking him. She like knows his entire life. And I'm like, how have you not grown up and moved on in 15 fucking years? Like, you don't know him. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this. So I hated that. And then I ended up going into Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis. I got this through one of my library cards on Libby. I really, really like this. Leah Lewis, I think, is like a contemporary author that is, I'm going to say underrated, but she is a UK author, and so I don't know if she's more popular over in England, and that I feel like not many people that I know read this, which is unfortunate because her books are just so wonderfully written and heartbreaking, and just, I love them. They pull at your heartstrings. I shouldn't say heartbreaking. Prior to the beginning of the book, the heroine loses her husband to an accident, and it was pretty sudden. This book is 2 years after that, and it's kind of her, I don't want to say being stuck, because that's not how she feels. She feels so fucking pressured to be better, and everyone around her really wants her to heal from this, and she is feeling pressure to be this old person that doesn't exist anymore because she is irrevocably changed by this event. This was the love of her life, and she lost him very suddenly, kind of senselessly, and she does not feel like it is something that she can ever come back from. Like, she is a different person now. She is kind of struggling with guilt over all of it because they owned this little cottage in the English countryside, and she doesn't really want this cottage anymore because they got it to like fix up and repair together. And she's like, I don't want to do this on my own. Like, I only wanted to do this with him. It was something that she purchased with him. And so she feels this immense guilt over even thinking about selling this place. The only thing that right now brings her a lot of joy is she has a piano at this train stop. Upstairs from the train stop is this coffee shop, and she has become friends with the owner there. Throughout the week, she will go there and she will play on this piano. And this is the one place that she feels like she can still enjoy music and do it anonymously without much pressure. And it's like just for her. One day she goes to the piano and she finds sheet music, and it is her husband's favorite song. And it was one that she used to play for him in the hospital. And she is finally like feeling things. Like, she's like, I feel emotions. I feel excited to go to this spot. And I have not felt that in so long. Now we're at this point where she's trying to figure out like, who is doing this. I have asked a million people, what is the name of the trope where you keep running into this person over and over again? And no one really has a good answer, but that's what it is in here. She keeps running into this guy. He's very kind to her and doesn't make her feel pressured to give him more than she can. That's kind of where we're at. I'm about halfway through. It is so beautifully written, and it's just one of those books that like you can easily sink into and get lost in. And it doesn't, as heavy as like all of the topics and stuff are, there's always this underlying hope in her books. I should not have put this book off because I love Leah Lewis's other books. I'm really, really loving this one, thank goodness, because I feel like this vlog has been a bit of a bummer. So maybe we'll have 2 5-stars. That does mean that I have a bunch of reviews to write. I need to write, what, 2 or 3 reviews? I need to write 2 reviews. So I need to write the review for The Roommate Pact and for Secretly Yours. And then I am planning to finish Key to My Heart today so that we can review that and have a final score of my Netgalley ratio. But for now, I am back at work, which is tragic. I will check back in with you probably over my lunch, see where we're at, see what we're doing.
I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it is you do. I just want you, I just need you. I don't know what it as you do. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire.
Good morning. I have this much left in Key to My Heart, and I really need to finish this. I have about 45 minutes left in the audiobook. I was listening to it while I was getting ready. I just ran out of time last night. I was too tired to stay up. This is one of those books where you get to like the last 3/4 and you're like, this ending is going to break me. Like, I'm going to cry. So I have to pause now because I have makeup on for filming today and I can't cry it off. I'm gonna have to hold off on this last little bit, but I'm kind of obsessed with it. I love watching the parallels between the heroine taking offense to things and then rationalizing when she does them. And I have a feeling it's going to kind of come to a head here at some point because she takes lying very personally because of something her best friend did to her. She is now keeping this really, really big thing from somebody, not necessarily forever, but she's trying to like come up with the right time to tell him. And someone else just did that to her where they were like, I didn't know when the right time to tell you was. I really like that parallel of she's living the thing that she is so hard on everyone else for. And so I'm excited to see how that works out. I'm really enjoying like the super slow burn romance because she is so hesitant about love and is having such a hard time feeling romantic feelings. And you can tell as a reader that she's clearly having romantic feelings for this guy, but isn't recognizing that that's what it is. Plus, there's something about Leah Lewis's writing that I'm obsessed with. This is going to be a win, but I know this vlog is going to be ridiculously long because I have so much B-roll and a lot of updates. So hopefully you're still here. I'm gonna go get my day started so we can finish up this book and close out this vlog and do a whole wrap up and all that jazz.
Set my world on fire.
That book had no right to make me cry. I still feel like I could burst into tears. I am giving this book 5 stars because obviously it made me cry. The ending of this was so good. Like, I knew I was gonna cry. Like, I knew it. Still got me. I'm gonna try not spoil anything. I loved watching the heroine grow throughout the book. You really get to follow her on this journey of healing after losing the love of her life, start coping and processing her feelings, opening herself up to new experiences and new friendships and new relationships, learning how to tell people what she needs and what she wants, not only other people, but tell herself those things. And it was so fantastic. There are amazing friendships in here. I was doing my cross stitch for a while and I had to stop and just sit here and listen to the last 10 minutes because I was like so swept away. I said this at the beginning, I think, but Leah Lewis's books do lean more contemporary, but they do end on a happily ever after. They're just very slow burn romances that end in a kiss, but the themes and stuff throughout are really fantastic. And I always love the romances as well. So this was really, really good. So that is the last book. I am going to go grab my laptop and we can review this book and then wrap everything up. Time to close out this vlog. We ended up finishing 6 arcs. And by finishing, I mean we started 6 of them and DNF'd some of them. Of the 6 books that I read, I DNF'd 2. I would say the worst book was Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, which I DNF'd at 4%. And I had to laugh because when I posted about this one, I had multiple messages of people telling me that they hated this book. So clearly I was not alone. In next place, so in what, 5th place, we have Change of Plans by Dylan Newton, which isn't necessarily a bad book. It wasn't for me and I didn't want to read it. In the number 4 spot would be Pestilence by Laura Thalasso. Gave 2.5 stars. This was good in theory and a hot mess in execution. Number 3 is The Roommate Pact by Allison Ashley, which I gave 3 stars. It is a book that I read. The details of this book are already fading. Not going to be able to talk about this book in recent reads without having to look up my review, because I am 100% going to forget what it was about. In the 1 and 2 spots, my 2 5 stars. I'm going to put in the number 2 spot, I'm going to put New Adult by Timothy Janowski, only because this one didn't make me cry. This is a very sweet and adorable, light-hearted queer romance. And this is definitely one that I'm going to be like screaming about for a minute, because sometimes we just need these queer, joyful books. And then in the number 1 spot, I'm going to put Key to My Heart by Leah Lewis, which I shouldn't be surprised about, and I'm kind of mad at myself for putting this book off for so long, especially since Dear Emmy Blue is one of my favorite books of all time. It really, really got me. So that's going to be my favorite of the video. So that's my ranking of all of the books. This video had mixed success, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting to have such a dichotomy of feelings about these books. 2 DNFs and 2 5 stars. That is that's a range. I have a ton more upcoming romance arcs. So I'm actually going to be doing another one of these in September where I read some September romance releases. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, I have a feeling that this vlog is quite long. So thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.